How's everyone doing today? My name's Alex Lerman, and I am with LowKickMMA. And today I have the pleasure to be joined by Cage Titans champ and former tough finalist Joe Giannetti. So, Joe, how's it going today?
Going good. Just relaxing. I got back to work last night, so I got home kind of late, but just chilling today.
Nice, nice. So, today's January 11th, and we're a few days removed from your recent fight against Saul Almeida. And coming off another successful title defense, how would you grade that performance?
I think it's either a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I think a lot of people leave it up to, how exciting or flashy a fight is, but, we made a game plan for a tricky style, and I executed that game plan flawlessly.
Got the job done, absolutely. And as I said before, a few days removed. How does your body feel right now? And how soon would you want to get back in the cage again?
I feel great and ASAP. It's just one of those things where and when and who. I don't really care about the who, but if it's for the UFC, then so be it. Like I'll go anywhere, anytime. If it's for Cage Titans again, where it's like I get a whole fight camp, then I gotta sit down and try and plan out my next fight camp at AKA.
Understood. So you're on a 5 fight win streak in Cage Titans, and you mentioned the UFC just now. Do you see yourself sticking around at Cage Titans, or do you see yourself hopefully moving on to bigger and better things at either the UFC or another promotion?
I would love to go to the UFC next. I think I've done just about everything that can be asked. I've made weight at 170. I had an opponent pull out at 155 and made weight at 65. I've made weight at 55. I won two titles. I defended one of them against experienced veterans, world class veterans. Against kind of greener guys more in where I'm at in my career. So I think I'm just doing everything I can to prove myself. So I think it's about that time.
Yeah, I gotta say you're on a stellar run as of late, man. Truly. And having been on The Ultimate Fighter with that experience, if the UFC were to give you that call soon, how much of an impact do you think you can make right off the bat?
A huge impact. It's one of those things where even when I was in tough, I was aiming for the top, and I didn't get to chase that goal to the top. So I'm still aiming for it. And when I do get back, it's to take over. I don't want to be one of those guys that just made the UFC. I feel like a lot of guys get too satisfied and they're not as hungry. And I say it all the time. If my goal was just to fight in the UFC, I did that when I was 22 years old. I'm 27 now, and I'm far from done.
Love to hear that. So it's a 5 year, been 5 years since that appearance, right? How do you think that you have evolved as a fighter, as a person, or both within that time period? Because since that loss to Trezano in the tough finale, you're 8-3. So clearly something's working.
Yeah, so the last 2 years has been the biggest, and just I took a year off of competition and just focused on training and improving, and it was not exactly like what people think. Like it wasn't just, practicing wrestling, practicing jujitsu. It was strength training, cardio training, then all that technique stuff, and then mental training outside of, the gym. And I think that the mental training really carried, probably 80% of my improvements. Just I wouldn't say a newfound confidence, but kind of a newfound confidence. Like I always knew I was good. I always knew I had these things, but there was all these voices from other people, whether it be, a troll online or people that were around me, making me doubt myself, and just cutting certain people off and having the right people in my life just makes it that much easier to believe in myself.
Okay, great. Um, and we were mentioning before, call up to the UFC, all that sort of stuff. Do you have any potential opponents in mind in the lightweight division that are either ranked, unranked, anybody you would realistically want to see if you're given that call soon?
I think since the finale, Trezano's been hanging down at 45. That was a fight I always wanted to get back. Maybe one day he'll go back up to 55. Like I said, love to get that back. Terrance McKinney's a killer. I think he's got a lot of hype, and I don't think he's done much yet in the lightweight division for the hype he's got. But I mean, he's a good kid, great story, and he's exciting as shit. And then, good old Paddy Pimblett, like everybody else calling for him. It's not about the money with him. For me, it never was. I just want to get my hands on him and beat his ass.
You would want to fight Paddy Pimblett right away, you think?
If they would give it to me, I would sign for it right now. Anywhere, any arena, any contract, any amount of money. I don't care. I just want to get my hands on him.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing a lot of fighters say that they want to get a piece of Paddy, so add another one to the list. Um, so I was recently watching your post fight interview from I think it was either your recent fight a couple days ago or one of your other fights in Cage Titans, and you were talking about men's mental health and a topic that I really love and I really love to hear you speak about. So can you just give a second, tell the viewers about how important that is?
Yeah, it's something that I've known to be important for a while and didn't take care of my own. So I never felt an urgency or a need to share, and not like I didn't want to, but I just never felt the urgency to help other people because I wasn't helping myself. And that year off that I took from competing and was just training, like I said, it was a lot of mental training, a lot of self-reflection and improvement. And I just realized, there was a lot of things I needed to work on. I also realized my mental health wasn't where I should have it. And putting myself in situations where it wasn't getting better. So I worked on it and worked on it, and I'm still working on it. But before this fight camp specifically, like, couldn't tell you why. Just I hit like a super, super low point. I was just like, I was working a ton. I wasn't training a bunch. And I work overnight. So 4 in the morning, you're not even done yet. It's like, all right, well, now I gotta go eat some junk food for a quick sugar rush. So it's like my weight wasn't where it needed to be to make 55 for, like, God forbid the UFC called. And then just like the depression of it all, like, sinking in, and it hit hard. Like, I was low, man. I was real low. And every day I kind of just woke up and was like, all right, today's the day it gets better. Today's the day it gets better. And there was a million of those. There was a million of, and it wasn't getting better. And then I just kept doing the right things. I was eating good. I was working out. I was talking to people. I was journaling stuff. And it slowly and surely started getting better. Taking my supplements, and it started getting better. And I feel like I'm in a much better place than I was 2 months ago. And then I've seen some people that were close to me tell me that they were struggling with similar things, not knowing that I was. And I asked them, I was like, why didn't you ever, shoot me a text or let me know like what was going on? And they were like, oh, well, you don't really seem like the feelings type of person. And I was like, shit, like, I don't communicate much. I don't express myself a ton. That's something I'm still working on. But the fact that people around me were hurting and felt, not because of anything I said, just the way I am, they just felt like they couldn't come to me with it. I felt really bad and like a little bit guilty, but also like I just wanted to help them. And it was a couple of people that I never thought would be going through anything that were close to me. So I just kind of made it my goal, like, all right, I want to do what I can. I don't know how, but we're going to do something to help out with men's mental health. And then Jason David Frank passed away. He was the White Power Ranger in the OG Power Rangers, and celebrity deaths never really hit me that hard. And that one, like, it ruined my day. Like, my whole day, I was just thinking about it. Like, I was at AKA, like, in training, getting my ass beat. Like, damn, man, like, he's gone because he was at his lowest point, and he felt like there was nobody there for him. He felt like there was nothing anybody could do for him. And then I went back to thinking about my friends, and I was like, that can't be them. Like, that I could never live with if one of my friends just thought like, oh, Joe doesn't want to listen. Um, so we did the Movember fight shirts. We're gonna donate this week to them directly online, and yeah, just spreading awareness for guys. Like, everybody's mental health is important, but men's mental health specifically gets skimmed over. So I'm just really trying to bring some light to that.
Thank you for sharing all that. Truly, your words can serve as an inspiration for anybody watching this. So again, thank you for sharing that piece. Um, and finally, on a more lighter note, I gotta know, how did you end up with the nickname Skeletor? Was it you? Was it a friend? How'd that happen?
So my original gym, when you would begin fighting, whether you wanted to be a UFC fighter or what, when you were an amateur, your first few fights, you didn't get to pick your name. Your coach did. And they never told us until fight night we were getting announced in the ring. And we kind of just did this until your name stuck. So, I've had other teammates that went through 3 or 4 names, and then we were like, wait, that's a good one. Um, so like my third amateur fight, I wasn't at Cage Titans. I was at this little promotion, and the announcer finds me and he goes, "Hey kid, what's your nickname?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. You got to ask my coach." And earlier in the week, my friends had been making fun of me because we used to think that I was going to be a 45er. So I cut down to 150. I fought at the catch weight. And all my friends were making fun of me. "Oh, you look like Skeletor. You look like Skeletor." My face was all sucked out. So then come fight night, the announcer goes and finds my coach. I'm in the cage. They're announcing me, and they announce me, Joe, Skeletor, Giannetti. And I was like, he must have talked to my friends. My friends are at the fight. So I win the fight, and then afterwards I say to my coach, I go, "How did you know about that name?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Did you see my friends? Like they were making fun of me all week, calling me Skeletor." And he was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. He just happened to pick it." And I was like, "I think that's the one. Then that was meant to be."
Yeah, it's meant to be, right? Friends and the coach pick it.
It was crazy.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, Joe, I think we've hit the end of our time here, but I just want to thank you so much for, first of all, sharing your story and those words on men's mental health. Very important topic. And also, can't wait to see you if you get a call up to the UFC soon, hopefully. Can't wait to see who your next opponent's going to be, and we'll be eagerly awaiting news for that. So before we leave you off here, I just want to give you the time. The floor is yours if you want to plug any social medias that you might have, any sponsors. I know you have a Twitch, so go ahead and plug that.
Yes, sir. Every social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, all of it. Giannetti MMA. There's two N's and two T's. That's what messes everybody up. Um, I do want to thank my sponsors for helping making this past fight camp happen. Two Fight Bros is always in my corner. Cage Then podcast with Chris, Verita Builders, and Pear Tree Property Service. You guys are the best. Sponsors, ticket sales, T-shirt sales is what makes a fight camp happen for me and for plenty of other fighters. So whether it's me or any other fighter, support your favorite local fighters because it's not easy to do this stuff. The money we do make usually goes right back into paying off the debt from fight camp. So support your local fighters, and I appreciate everybody that supports me.
Well, Joe, that about wraps it up. Thanks again. You heard the man. Support your local fighters on all levels. And once again, hope you get that call to the UFC soon, brother. Looking forward to seeing you in action again. And you have a good one. Thank you so
You
much for
too.
joining me.
Thank you for taking your time.
Of course. Thanks.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.